Hello, my name is Samuel Mayus. I'm a student in the Faculty of Social Science. I was born January 8th, 2004, and yeah, I enjoy long walks on the beach and stuff. There's no really better way to visualize my self-portrait than by actually visualizing it. And I'm so glad I kept, because I was telling myself, you said you wanted us to like make things that we don't consider junk. So I kind of like hoarded all the stuff I made, didn't throw it out as soon as I was done because it was really like cool to make these kind of things because I don't really consider myself an artistic person. All this to say, I held on to my self-portrait. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little crumpled up now, but still me in my beautiful glory. I think it looks like me. And yeah, this is just my self-portrait. Trying to get into the headspace of like making art, especially because this was like one of the first art pieces we had to make. And it was kind of like a new experience that turned out to be probably my favorite piece of art to make was the self-portrait because we got to draw stuff and we got to draw ourselves and we got to show in our styles, whether it's good or bad, how we perceive ourselves to be. By research, I guess you mean like our research assignment. Um, where I was when I conducted my research assignment was at this beautiful desk right here, which I'm not gonna show you because once again, it is quite dirty. And it was a rush job to get a nice little square area where it kind of looks like my room is put together, but everything was done here within the confines of my room because even though some people, like to go to the library or like to go to university to get their job done, I always felt inadequate being in like public places to get stuff done. It's just when you're in your room, it's kind of like your own box where you can like think your own little bubble, your own little world. It just makes doing things like research assignments where you really need to think or you really need to perceive things in certain ways, it just makes it easier to do so. Well, for me, conducting data, because most of the data was about like ourselves, about how we felt, perceived certain things, what we thought, what we believed, the our emotions, the thoughts and the thing, like when we did the coding, because all of this data was really about ourselves, I'd collect data just by like thinking, right? Which seems like common sense, but when you have to be one with yourself and really think about certain things, you realize that some of the answers you come up with is not the answers you would come up with if someone like asked you the question right then and there and told you you had to come up with an answer on the spot. When it came to my time spent on my phone, it was something I was constantly struggling with before even the research report. I tried to bring it down, it didn't really work, and I believe yes, the number of time I spent on my phone fluctuated around, I think it was 4 hours and 17 minutes. I'll show a picture and that'll have it for sure, but I know it was 4 hours and something, and that was like the average of time I spent on my phone. Well, I have the whole pile of every single collage and stuff I made, but if I had to choose one of my favorite ones, it would be the actual drawing for like the word that we chose. This says misunderstood, and, miss, so it's on the target, and like the fishbowl and just a bunch of cool little like motifs and stuff is what I added to it. That's definitely be my favorite artwork just because of like the work I put in, the thought I put in, and I felt like it was pretty cool. So my favorite word cloud would be the ones we did off of Field Report 19 with all the feelings and emotions. Uh, it was mad depressing seeing all the words, all the sorry emotions appear, and like seeing the bigger ones being things like I think it was like dread and like sadness, fear, and stuff. But it's not to say it's therapeutic, but it really gives an insight of like what the themes of the class were, or more so what the themes of the class would make you feel, right? And it's just a really great insight also on how I feel towards all those different topics that we covered. You know, it's like questions like these that really make it suck that we only have 4 minutes to really explain our project, because for the way my coding worked, it was so strange because the way I'd structure my sentences, you'd have the theme like two sentences before, and then you'd have the actual emotion like in a sentence afterwards. So it caused me to, instead of having to just look at one single sentence, I had to look really as the text as a whole, and like kind of like it's like it wasn't even piecing it together, but it was really just looking through and linking what the emotion was because I'd go on continuous tangents. It was interesting, it was fun, and it's really something that like if I had more time, I'd explain because if you look at like the way I highlighted my coding, it's just here and then all the way over there. In terms of patterns in my media consumption, personally, I don't think there was any patterns. If there's one I could like reach out and say, oh, maybe that's a pattern, it's when I was doing the going through all the most popular movies of all time to like trying to understand pop culture more. That could be considered a pattern, but other than that, nah, not really any patterns. What is it they say? They say the real treat, isn't like where you end up, it's the journey, right? And I believe that my research journey is exactly that. It's the treasure, right? It was interesting to be able to think, but to take that moment to slow down, perceive things like the time I spent on my phone, how the world around me is, just taking that time to take a step back and realize those things. I think that's why my research journey was so important, just to allow me to be able to take that step back. And I believe that's something that everyone should experience.